Welcome back, traveler. Tonight, we drift once more into the world of legends, a tale of fate, friendship, and choices that shape the soul. So, find somewhere quiet, let the lights fade low, and close your eyes as we retell the story of Baldur's Gate 3. If you enjoy falling asleep to epic worlds and peaceful storytelling, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling us what game story you'd like to hear next. Now, let's begin. The story begins in a blur of color and sound, a pulsing, wet heartbeat echoing through the corridors of something alive. You awaken on a slab of slick, alien metal that seems to breathe beneath you. Shadows ripple along the walls like veins, and in the corner, a creature with an octopus-like face drifts closer, its pale tendrils twitching in eerie rhythm. This is no dream. You are aboard a nautiloid, a living ship of the mind flayers, beings that devour thoughts and twist mortal flesh into their own kind. One of them hovers over you, its glassy eyes reflecting your terror. It leans in, whispering without words, and a tiny wriggling parasite slides toward your face. You try to resist, but invisible hands hold you down. The tadpole pierces your eye with a flash of unbearable pain, and then everything changes. You can feel it inside you, sliding behind your thoughts, settling deep into your skull. The world bends. Moments later, chaos erupts. From the skies above, crimson dragons scream through clouds of fire, carrying Githyanki riders in gleaming armor. They are ancient enemies of the mind flayers, and their arrival tears the heavens open. Explosions rock the ship as it lurches through planes of existence. A dizzying storm of lightning, shadow, and burning cities glimpsed through portals. The ship begins to fall, its flesh metal shell cracking as fire consumes the sky. And then, silence. You crash into the earth. When you awaken, you're lying on a beach littered with broken glass and strange organic debris. The scent of salt and smoke fills the air. Somewhere behind you, the wrecked nautiloid hisses, its alien machinery dying in shallow water. You rise slowly, feeling the faint pulse of something alive inside your head, whispering, breathing with you. You are not alone. Nearby, other survivors stumble from the wreckage. A fierce Githyanki warrior named Laezel, a wounded cleric murmuring to her goddess, and a stranger who hides his fear behind sharp eyes and a smirk. Each of them bears the same small mark: the parasite. None of you know how long you have before it takes hold, twisting you into one of those monsters. And yet, despite the dread creeping in your veins, something about the power inside you feels alluring. You can sense thoughts, taste the emotions of others, almost control them. The infection feels like it's changing you, but for the first time, you also feel strong. The wind moves through the ruined ship like a sigh. Around you, the coastline glows under fading sunlight. Somewhere beyond the horizon, the city of Baldur's Gate still stands, unaware of what has just fallen from the sky. And as the tide laps quietly at your feet, your journey begins. A search for a cure, a fight for your soul, and a path that will decide the fate of an entire world. The waves roll quietly against the shore as the last embers of the crashed nautiloid fade to smoke. The air feels heavy, not just from the salt and ash, but from the uneasy awareness that something alien now moves within your mind. It doesn't speak in words, but in subtle pulses of thought. Faint and curious, like a heartbeat that isn't your own. You can almost sense the same rhythm in others nearby. The survivors. Laezel, the proud Githyanki warrior, is already barking orders, convinced the only cure lies among her people, who know more about mind flayers than any living race. She studies you with sharp eyes, torn between contempt and necessity. To her, you are a Gaik spawn, tainted by the parasite, but still useful. Further along the sand, you find Shadowheart, a half-elf cleric of Shar, clutching a strange artifact that glows faintly with divine energy. Her memory is fractured, her faith unyielding, and her secret, whatever it is, lies locked behind that mysterious relic she refuses to let go of. Nearby, a pale figure stirs under a beam of sunlight. Astarion, charming and poised even in the aftermath of chaos, greets you with a wry smile that doesn't quite reach his crimson eyes. He hides his hunger well. For now. Each of them, like you, carries the same infection. Each of them, in their own way, is running out of time. Together, you move inland, through fields scarred by the crash and forests whispering with life. Strange tracks mark the mud, and voices echo through the trees. Goblins patrol the area, searching for survivors and spreading the name of something called the Absolute. They speak of a god that promises power to the chosen, those who share in a divine blessing. You can feel it, that same subtle hum in your head, the parasite reacting to their words, as if it knows. Night falls. You make camp beneath the twisted roots of an old oak. The fire crackles softly, and though everyone keeps a blade or spell close at hand, fatigue eventually wins. The stars above are dim, veiled by mist. You drift toward sleep, but before dreams can claim you, a shadow appears. Not in the distance, but within your mind. You see an elegant figure cloaked in light, their face kind and calm. They tell you not to fear the parasite, that it can be controlled, even mastered. Their voice feels soothing, almost divine. But beneath it lingers something cold and ancient. You awaken with a start, heart pounding, realizing it wasn't a dream. It was contact. The power inside you is growing, and someone, or something, wants to guide it. Morning arrives softly, mist curling through the trees like smoke from a dying fire. The air feels strange, heavier than before. The dreams still cling to your mind, that mysterious figure's voice echoing like a whisper through the fog. Embrace it. You don't know what they meant, or why their words felt both comforting and dangerous. But one thing is clear. The tadpole inside you isn't done. You feel stronger somehow, sharper, as if your thoughts reach further than they should. Laezel insists that hesitation is death. She demands that you help her find a Githyanki creche, a hidden stronghold where her kin might have the tools or knowledge to remove the parasites. Shadowheart disagrees, her eyes narrowing each time Laezel speaks of her people. Old hatred flares between them like sparks on dry grass. You step between them, realizing that without unity, none of you will survive long enough to find a cure. As you travel inland, the forest gives way to a peaceful grove bathed in sunlight. It should feel safe, but the tension in the air says otherwise. You find a druid enclave, the Emerald Grove, where tiefling refugees have taken shelter after fleeing goblin raids. The druids, led by a stern man named Kaga, are preparing a ritual to seal the grove and shut everyone else out. The tieflings beg for help, terrified of being left outside to die. The goblins, meanwhile, gather in the nearby wilderness under banners bearing the strange symbol of the Absolute. You quickly realize you can't avoid this conflict. The tieflings need protection, the druids crave isolation, and the goblins, they seem united by something unnatural, a faith almost holy in its intensity, all whispering the same name with reverence, the Absolute. When you draw near them, the parasite in your head stirs, humming faintly, like it recognizes that name. You sense the same presence calling from deep within their ranks, urging you to join, to obey. That night, around the campfire, the group argues. Lae'zel wants to find her creche. Shadowheart wants to seek out a healer, rumored to be nearby. Astarion only smirks, polishing his dagger under the moonlight. Each of them hides something. Motives, fears, secrets. You feel the weight of leadership settling on your shoulders. As the fire burns low, your thoughts drift again. You wonder if the thing in your head is guiding you, or waiting. The sound of insects fades. The night grows still. Somewhere in the darkness, unseen eyes are watching. And the whisper returns, gentle but insistent. You're changing. Don't fight it. The days that follow are filled with tension and unease. The grove becomes a crossroads of fate, a place where your choices begin to shape the world around you. Every step through its winding paths seems to carry the weight of consequence. You find children hiding among the roots of ancient trees, mothers praying quietly in corners, and druids whispering that the ritual must be completed, no matter the cost. The tiefling refugees look at you like a final hope, their eyes full of both trust and fear. Kaga, the acting leader of the druids, stands tall in her judgment. She accuses the tieflings of bringing danger to their sacred home, her voice sharp and cold. Shadowheart urges diplomacy, while Laezel scoffs at the whole affair, calling it a nest of weakness. You can feel the pull between mercy and practicality. Every choice rippling outward like water disturbed by a stone. Beyond the grove's walls, you discover where the danger truly gathers. The goblin camp is vast and chaotic, filled with roaring fires, crude banners, and laughter that carries the promise of cruelty. They serve the so-called Absolute, a mysterious power that unites monsters, zealots, and broken souls under one purpose. Some of them, disturbingly, bear the same parasite you do. When you draw near, the tadpole inside your mind stirs again, and for a moment, you hear their thoughts. You can speak to them, not with words but with will. The connection is unsettling, yet intoxicating. They call you true soul, as if you were chosen by their god. Among them, 3 figures stand out. Dror Ragzlin, the hobgoblin warlord, Minthara, the drow priestess, and Gut, a fanatical goblin with a cruel smile who claims she can help you embrace the gift within. They kneel to the Absolute's will, believing it to be divine. Whether through deception or truth, you play along. For information, for survival, or perhaps for curiosity. But as night falls over the camp and the flames rise high, a choice begins to form. The grove is defenseless. The goblins will soon march. You can stand with the tieflings and druids to defend them, or strike from within, aiding the goblins and earning their faith in return. Whatever path you take, one truth grows clear. The infection is changing more than your body. It's changing who you are. The whisper in your mind no longer feels distant. It feels close, warm, almost intimate. It promises power, the kind that could save you, or consume everything you love. The tension between mercy and power finally shatters into violence. The night glows with the fire of battle, whether it's the goblins storming the grove or your blades cutting through their ranks. Screams echo through the forest, blending with the hum of magic and steel. Every choice you made, every ally you gained or betrayed, plays out here beneath the moonlight. Laezel fights with the discipline of a warrior bred for conquest, her every movement sharp and relentless. Shadowheart channels divine energy from her goddess Shar, her dark prayers glowing faintly against the carnage. And through it all, the parasite inside you pulses, awakening to something new, something hungry. When the chaos ends, silence returns like a heavy fog. The smell of smoke and blood lingers. Survivors weep for the fallen. The dead, goblin, druid, and tiefling alike, lie scattered among the roots of the grove. The victory, if it can be called that, feels hollow. But your path must continue. You've learned of healers beyond these woods, rumored to have ancient knowledge of illithid transformation. Some speak of a hag deep in the swamp. Others whisper of a wandering wizard who studies the mind flayer's ways. It's in these travels that you meet a man named Gale, a scholar and wizard with eyes that hide both brilliance and regret. He joins you after a cautious exchange of trust, his humor and intelligence a welcome light against the darkness closing in. But soon, you learn his secret. Within his chest burns a fragment of destructive magic, unstable and deadly, bound to consume him if not fed powerful artifacts. He laughs it off, calling it an inconvenience. But the truth is far darker. You begin to see a pattern. Everyone you meet carries a curse of their own. Deeper in the wilderness, the air grows colder, the trees twisted and wrong. You find the lair of the hag, Auntie Ethel, a creature of sweet smiles and cruel promises. She offers you a cure for your parasite, for a price. Her words are silk and poison, her beauty an illusion that flickers between youth and rot. She knows more than she should, her eyes gleaming as if she can see the tadpole squirming inside your skull. When you refuse her twisted bargains, her kindness melts away, revealing the monster beneath. By the time you leave her den, victorious or scarred by what you've seen, you've learned something frightening. The power inside you cannot be easily undone. Magic, medicine, even divine intervention seems helpless before it. That night, when you make camp, your reflection in the firelight looks almost unfamiliar. The dreams return again. That same calm figure cloaked in light, stepping closer. They whisper, "Why fight what you were meant to become?" And in that moment, as the fire crackles and the world grows quiet, you feel it. Not fear, but temptation. The morning after your encounter with the hag feels different. Quieter. Heavier. The air hums faintly, as if the world itself knows what's happening inside you. You can feel the tadpole's presence more clearly now, pulsing in rhythm with your heartbeat. Sometimes, when you focus, you can hear the thoughts of others. Flashes of fear, curiosity, even longing. It should terrify you. Instead, it feels intoxicating. Your group travels onward, past the edges of the forest into lands scarred by war and neglect. Burned villages, overturned carts, and the stench of rot remind you that Faerun is no stranger to chaos. Yet in every broken ruin, you find signs of something spreading. Banners marked with the strange symbol of the Absolute, painted in blood and ash. It's more than a cult now. It's an uprising. Laezel grows impatient. She insists that the Githyanki creche must be near. The very thought ignites something fierce in her eyes, a mixture of duty and desperation. Shadowheart's distrust of her deepens with every step, and the two exchange sharp words until even Gale grows weary of the tension. But despite the bickering, there's a fragile bond forming between you all, forged through shared danger and long nights under the stars. Eventually, you find the entrance to a vast underground network, the Underdark. It yawns before you like a mouth swallowing the light, a maze of glowing fungi and whispering stone. It's there, among those bioluminescent caverns, that you discover the next piece of the puzzle. The cult's influence runs deep, twisting both goblins and drow into servants of the Absolute. Even down here, in this alien beauty of darkness and crystal light, her name echoes like a prayer. You meet strange allies in the depths, myconids who speak through spores, Duergar slavers with cruel smiles, and travelers who've long forgotten the sun. Each one fears the growing madness above and below. You hear whispers of a place called Moonrise Towers, where the cult gathers in full force, and where answers about the parasite might finally await. But the Underdark is not kind to wanderers. You face horrors born of shadow and mutation, beasts with too many eyes, voices that echo your own thoughts, and illusions that tempt you to stray from your path. At one point, in the silence between battles, you feel the tadpole surge. Time seems to slow. You see your companions' thoughts, their secrets laid bare like open pages. Laezel's pride hides loneliness. Shadowheart's faith trembles behind a wall of guilt. Gale's smile masks fear, fear of dying, fear of being forgotten. When it fades, you're left shaking, the world around you distorted, your heart pounding. The power grows stronger each time you use it, but so does the hunger. As you rest in a cavern lit by glowing blue spores, your eyes drift shut. And once again the dream returns. The figure of light, smiling as if they've known you forever. You see, you're not losing yourself, they whisper. You're becoming something greater. And somewhere deep within you almost believe them. The Underdark seems endless. A labyrinth of winding tunnels, ancient ruins, and rivers of glowing fungus that cast ghostly light over stone. The air hums faintly with magic, and every step echoes for miles. Down here, the world above feels like a fading memory. You begin to notice how the parasite inside you reacts differently in this place. More awake, more alert, as though it recognizes the dark below. Sometimes, you catch glimpses of things that aren't there. Silhouettes in the mist. Faint voices whispering from the walls. You start to wonder if they're real, or if the transformation is finally beginning. Your path crosses with new faces, some desperate, others deceitful. There's a young deep gnome trapped by Duergar slavers who pleads for freedom. and a mad wizard who swears the Absolute's influence spreads even into the Underdark. Each decision you make, who to save, who to leave behind, feels like a thread tugging at fate itself. The weight of your choices grows heavier with every step. It's here that you find a place of quiet power, a hidden sanctum guarded by creatures that seem to revere the parasite's touch. They call you True Soul, their eyes glowing faintly, their minds linked to yours in a strange, unholy communion. For a moment, you can feel every thought in the room. It's overwhelming, like standing inside a single vast mind made of hundreds. The experience leaves you trembling, unsure whether you've glimpsed divinity or madness. Lae'zel's conviction only deepens. She insists the creche lies near, and soon you find it. A towering structure of silver and steel buried deep underground, glowing with alien light. The Githyanki warriors greet her with suspicion, but when they learn of the parasite, their curiosity sharpens into hunger. They take you before their leader, a stern and unflinching Gith known as Vlaakith's Inquisitor, who promises the truth and deliverance. The ritual begins. Strange machinery hums around you, beams of energy piercing your skull as the Inquisitor peers into your mind. Pain floods every nerve as they search for the parasite's essence. But when they see what's inside you, their composure cracks. They step back, whispering words of disbelief. The tadpole resists even their magic. Worse, they glimpse something ancient behind it. A Wyll, vast and watching, staring through your eyes. They try to destroy you. Lae'zel turns her blade on her own kin, unwilling to see you sacrificed. Steel clashes with steel, and for a brief moment, you see the depth of her loyalty, not to her people, but to the bond you've built. When the fighting ends, silence returns, broken only by the hiss of dying machinery. Lae'zel kneels among the ruins, her pride wounded but her faith shaken. For the first time, she looks at you not as a burden or rival, but as something else, a mystery that even her queen cannot explain. As you leave the creche, the parasite thrums softly in your skull, no longer a foreign intruder, but something that feels alive, aware. You can sense it watching your thoughts, responding to your emotions. And somewhere, beyond the dark ceiling of the Underdark, something answers. When you finally emerge from the depths, the sunlight feels foreign, too bright, too pure for eyes that have grown used to the glow of the Underdark. The air tastes of ash and rain, and the horizon ahead is broken by a fortress rising from the wetlands like a scar upon the land. Moonrise Towers. You've heard whispers of it since the beginning, the seat of the Absolute's growing power, the place where truth and danger wait hand in hand. The journey there winds through cursed lands. Shadows move where light should fall, and trees twist as if straining to flee the soil. The sky itself seems sickly, stained with faint streaks of violet that pulse like veins. The people here speak in hushed tones, haunted by stories of a dark general, Catheric Thorm, a man once blessed by the gods and now twisted into something undying. His soldiers march under banners of the Absolute, carrying relics that hum with unholy energy. You and your companions pass through the shattered remains of villages, their walls marked with the same strange symbol that has followed you since the crash. Some survivors still resist, hiding in the shadows. A small band of harpers, a wandering cleric of Selûne, and a few desperate souls who whisper that the Absolute's blessing is spreading like wildfire through dreams. You can feel it too. That voice at the edge of thought, whispering promises of control, unity, ascension. At camp, the group begins to fracture. Astarion's charm hides unease. The hunger in his eyes grows harder to disguise. Shadowheart clutches her mysterious relic in her sleep, muttering prayers to her dark goddess. Gale seems to carry more weight with each passing night, his hunger for magical artifacts now a quiet necessity rather than choice. And Laezel, she watches you with a strange mixture of reverence and fear, torn between duty to her queen and something more human taking root within her. As you travel closer to moonrise, the dream returns again, stronger this time. The figure who once spoke gently now stands clearer, their features illuminated by shifting light. Their voice is honey and thunder all at once. You've seen what they offer you: fear, weakness, doubt. But we can be more than them. The absolute is a lie. Your power is the truth. You wake with the echo of their words still trembling in your chest. The others sense something different about you now. A calm intensity, an almost inhuman steadiness. When a band of cultists ambushes your camp before dawn, you react before thinking. The parasite flaring alive within you, your voice cutting through their minds like a blade. They stop mid-attack, trembling, obeying. The others stare at you in silence. Power like that shouldn't exist, yet it came as easily as breathing. As the corpses fall still and the night returns to quiet, you realize that the dream's promise might not have been a lie after all. Something deep inside you is changing, not just your mind, but your very nature. And whether it saves you or destroys you will be decided at Moonrise Towers. The march to Moonrise Towers feels like walking toward the heart of a storm. The air grows colder, heavier, as if the land itself dreads what lies ahead. When the fortress finally comes into view, it's nothing like the whispers described. Massive spires pierce the sky, their black stone gleaming like wet obsidian. Strange runes shimmer faintly along the walls, pulsing in rhythm with something beneath, alive, ancient, and patient. The closer you draw, the louder that pulse grows, echoing with the parasite's hum in your skull until the two beats almost merge. Inside, the halls of Moonrise are filled with a sick kind of reverence. Soldiers kneel in prayer, chanting the name of the Absolute as if the word itself keeps them alive. Hooded priests move between them, their faces pale, their eyes glassy with devotion. To them, the Absolute is salvation, the end of pain, the beginning of unity. Yet when you enter, they recognize something in you immediately. You are one of them, and yet not. Their leader awaits in the tower's heart, Ketheric Thorm, the immortal general whose grief twisted him into something neither living nor dead. Once a holy man who served the goddess Selûne, he turned against her after his daughter's death, embracing the Absolute's false promises of resurrection. His voice carries the weight of centuries, his armor etched with sigils that glow faintly when he speaks. He greets you not as an enemy, but as kin. The parasite within you resonates with his presence, as though it knows him. Ketheric tells you that your gift is proof of the Absolute's love, that your mind and soul are evolving beyond the weakness of mortals. Around you, the cultists bow their heads in unison, their faith like a wall pressing in from all sides. Lae'zel's hand drifts to her sword. Shadowheart mutters a prayer beneath her breath. Gale studies every word, trying to see the magic beneath the madness. But the truth is stranger than any of them expect. When you look into Ketheric's eyes, you see not zeal, but despair. He is bound, not to faith, but to something far more powerful. Later that night, you uncover the truth. The Absolute is not a god, but a puppet. Behind the curtain of worship and control lies a single, terrifying mind. An elder brain, ancient and all-consuming, pulling the strings of mortals and monsters alike. The cult's prayers are not heard by divinity. They are absorbed by the hive. And still, despite the horror of it, a part of you feels drawn to it. The thought of so many voices moving as one, united, unstoppable, stirs something deep inside the part of you that is no longer fully human. As you stand on the tower's balcony, staring out at the cursed landscape below, the moonlight catches on your skin. For a moment, you could swear it shimmers like theirs. Pale, cold, alien. You tell yourself it's only the light. But deep down, you know better. The truth about the Absolute hits like cold iron. There was never a god watching from above. Only the vast mind of an elder brain lurking beneath, feeding on belief like a parasite of its own. Every prayer, every sacrifice, every soldier's devotion has been devoured and reshaped into obedience. Ketheric Thorm, the immortal general you once thought a leader, is only another piece on the board. His body held together by necromantic power, and his will bound by the elder brain's unseen hand. You can feel its awareness now. When you close your eyes, its thoughts brush against yours, a tide of whispering hunger. It knows you, recognizes you as both kin and threat. The parasite in your head vibrates, eager, almost thrilled by the connection. The line between hunter and prey begins to blur. In Moonrise's dim halls, you discover a relic, the Netherstone, an obsidian shard said to grant dominion over the hive. Its surface shimmers like liquid darkness, whispering in 100 voices at once. Thorm wields one, and somewhere beyond these walls 2 more exist. In the hands of Orin the Red, an assassin devoted to blood, and Enver Gortash, a cunning warlord who forged alliances with devils themselves. Together, their netherstones keep the elder brain chained, awaiting its final command. The next battle unfolds beneath Moonrise Towers, in the catacombs where Ketheric's daughter's tomb lies. The corruption here is suffocating. Tendrils of shadow creep along the walls, feeding from the misery of a man who couldn't accept death. When you confront him, Ketheric's sorrow transforms into rage. The fight is relentless, magic and steel crashing like thunder, divine light clashing with necrotic rot. He cannot die, not truly, not while his soul is bound to the darkness below. But in the heat of the battle, something divine stirs, a radiant light that pierces the gloom. From the depths rises the night song, not a relic as the cult believed, but a woman. Aelin, an Aasimar once blessed by Selûne. Her imprisonment has kept Thorm's immortality intact. When you free her, the light of her wings fills the chamber like dawn breaking after centuries of night. Ketheric collapses to his knees as his false immortality unravels. The curse breaks. His last words tremble with regret. His eyes finally clear before the darkness takes him. The towers fall silent. You hold his netherstone, a key to the elder brain's prison, pulsing faintly in your palm. As the others gather around you, their faces glow in the aftermath, some in awe, others in fear. The victory feels momentary. You know what comes next. 2 netherstones remain, and the path forward leads to the city whose name has echoed since your first breath on the shore. Baldur's Gate. That night, the dream returns once more. The figure in your mind steps closer than ever before. Their expression no longer gentle. Their eyes burn with knowing light. The gods lie, mortals falter, and yet you endure, they whisper. Do you understand now? You were never cursed. You were chosen. And as their hand reaches toward you, you feel something shift, not in your head, but in your soul. The fall of Moonrise Towers leaves a silence so deep it almost feels wrong. The swamp's mist rolls through the shattered halls, carrying the smell of death and iron. The cultists scatter like broken glass, their faith shattered, now that their god has been revealed as nothing more than a hungry brain in the dark. But even in victory, your mind refuses to rest. The netherstone hums in your palm, alive, whispering faint echoes of distant thoughts, fragments of the elder brain's dreams. You sense that the others still live. Or in the red, somewhere beneath the city, and Enver Gortash, rising to power among men. You leave the cursed lands behind, crossing rivers and roads once again under open sky. But Faerun feels different now. Quieter, watchful. You begin to see patrols bearing Gortash's crest, a steel gauntlet clutching a flame. His voice spreads through the people like prophecy. He promises safety, order, and the end of chaos. All in the name of the Absolute. Few realize that his peace is a leash, his laws written in blood. The road winds toward the heart of civilization. Baldur's Gate. The great city stands proud on the horizon, its walls tall and ancient, the harbor filled with sails that glimmer like stars in the morning light. For the first time, you glimpse what's truly at stake. Not a small camp or cursed grove, but a world on the brink of surrender. The Elder Brain's influence grows in secret beneath those streets, feeding through minds that never knew they were infected. Inside the city, the story changes, from battlefields to whispers. Nobles, merchants, and guards alike speak in code, fearful of unseen eyes. You discover that Gortash has taken control as the city's newly appointed archduke, his charm and brilliance making him beloved by those too blind to see the truth. He commands legions of steel watchers, towering automatons forged through infernal contracts, their glowing eyes patrolling every street. Amid this cold machine of order, another presence lurks in the shadows. Orin the Red, an assassin of terrifying devotion. Her followers sacrifice victims to the Dead Three, the gods of murder, tyranny, and death, whose influence ties the entire conspiracy together. You realize now that the Absolute's promise of unity is only the latest mask for an older evil. The Dead Three's champions, Orin, Gortash, and Ketheric, were never just leaders. They were fragments of a divine plan to bring the Elder Brain under their control and rule the world through it. At camp that night, your companions speak in hushed tones. Gale's curiosity burns brighter than ever. He hungers to study the Netherstone's connection to the weave. Laezel's faith remains fractured, her queen's silence gnawing at her pride. Shadowheart avoids the firelight altogether, her relic still pulsing with mysterious power she refuses to explain. And you feel the city calling. As you stare toward Baldur's Gate, its thousands of lights flickering like stars below the horizon, the whispers in your head begin to overlap. The dream figure, the parasite, the lingering echo of the elder brain. They merge into one truth, one command, one invitation that feels both holy and wrong. Come home. And for the first time, you wonder if the journey was ever about saving yourself at all, or if you were always walking exactly where the parasite wanted you to go. Baldur's Gate rises before you like a dream, or a warning. Its towers glint in the morning haze, its streets bustling with traders, beggars, and soldiers. The smell of salt and smoke mingles with roasted bread and river fog. For most, this city is a promise of safety, the jewel of the Sword Coast. But for you, it feels alive in another way, humming beneath the cobblestones, whispering through every shadow. The parasite within you stirs the moment you step through the gates. You can feel it. Others are here, others like you. The city is divided. Refugees crowd the outer districts, hungry and desperate. The wealthy hide behind guarded walls. Gortash's steel watch patrols every corner, their metal frames moving with perfect precision. People call it progress, peace, the dawn of a new age. But when you pass them, their glowing eyes linger on you too long, as though they recognize something inside your mind. In a quiet tavern, you find an old friend in disguise. Wyll, the Blade of Frontiers. Once a hero of the city, now hunted by Gortash's regime. His smile fades when he sees the truth in your eyes. But he joins you regardless, bound by a devil's contract that weighs heavy on his soul. With him, the group feels whole again, though the world outside grows darker. As you gather information, you begin to unravel the delicate threads that hold Baldur's Gate together. The three great powers, the Flaming Fist Guards, the Guild, and Gortash's new industrial order, are locked in a quiet war. And beneath it all, hidden in the sewers and catacombs, the cult of the Dead Three thrives, led by Orin the Red. Orin is not just an assassin. She is chaos given form, a shapeshifter who delights in fear. Her killings are messages, her victims chosen for meaning. Each death is a prayer to Baal, god of murder. Rumors whisper that she walks among the city's people, wearing faces that once belonged to friends, lovers, even family. You begin to look at every stranger differently. The deeper you go, the more you uncover. The Elder Brain is here, hidden, chained and controlled through the Netherstones. Gortash believes himself its master, Orin its prophet. But the creature's thoughts press faintly against your mind, like a tide pushing against a wall. It is waking. It remembers you. At night, the dream returns again, but the figure's light is fading. They look at you not with peace, but with sorrow. The city sleeps under illusion, they whisper. Every soul you pass carries a spark of the same infection. You can still save them, or lead them. You wake in darkness, your companions asleep, the city's lights flickering beyond the tent. You can't tell if the sound you hear is rain against canvas, or a heartbeat echoing from deep beneath the streets. Somewhere below Baldur's Gate, the Elder Brain dreams. And with every passing day, its dream begins to shape the waking world. The city feels heavier with each passing day, as though the very air carries the weight of unseen minds pressing against your thoughts. Baldur's Gate has become a stage for hidden gods and broken loyalties, and you are caught at its center. Gortash's banners hang proudly from every tower, proclaiming order and salvation. His steel watchers march in perfect formation, their footsteps echoing like drums of inevitability. To most citizens, he is a hero, the man who saved the city from chaos. But you've seen what lies beneath the illusion. The glint of infernal runes carved into the Watcher's cores, contracts written in devil's blood, and the faint psychic tether binding them all to the same will. Not Gortash's, but the Elder Brain's. The people celebrate in ignorance, while fear spreads through the alleys. The guild murmurs of disappearances. Refugees vanish from the docks without a trace. And in the corners of the lower city, graffiti written in crimson appears overnight. Praise the Absolute. The true awakening begins. The words feel alive when you pass them, as if the walls themselves are whispering. You and your companions gather at camp outside the city walls to plan your next move. The fire crackles, the night air thick with tension. Wyll speaks first, his tone weary but defiant. He believes Gortash's devilish power can be broken if you destroy the infernal engines fueling his machines. Gale stares into the flames, wondering aloud if the netherstone in your possession could be used not to destroy the Elder Brain, but to control it. Laezel scoffs at the idea, her faith torn between disgust and curiosity. Shadowheart says little, clutching her relic, the artifact that still glows faintly in the firelight, pulsing in rhythm with your heartbeat. When you close your eyes, the city's voices bleed together. The prayers of the cult, the commands of the Steel Watch, the whisper of the Netherstone. Somewhere beneath it all, a deeper voice murmurs your name. You see flashes of Orin's work, bloodied altars, corpses laid in spirals, eyes open in silent worship. Her laughter echoes through the visions, bright and cold. You know now she's killing those tied to you, friends, allies, anyone who might stand in her way. A cruel invitation for you to come find her. As you descend into the sewers in search of her, the world above begins to fade. The tunnels twist like veins through the city's underbelly, lined with the symbols of Baal. You pass shrines made of bone, hear chants that vibrate in your skull. The deeper you go, the more the parasite inside you hums, reacting to the blood and devotion that fill the air. And then you see her, Orin the Red, standing barefoot in a circle of bodies, her skin glistening with fresh blood that reflects the flickering torchlight. Her eyes gleam with ecstasy. She greets you not as an enemy, but as a sibling, another chosen, another piece of the grand design. "Don't you feel it?" she whispers, her voice soft and sweet. "We're all being remade. You, me, the city, the world. Only those strong enough to embrace it will survive." The chamber falls silent, save for the sound of dripping blood. Your companions step back as her form begins to shift, her bones cracking, her flesh reshaping into another's face. You realize, with a chill, she could be anyone, anywhere. She smiles through the transformation, her words lingering in the air like poison. When the gods return, they will need vessels. Tell me, will you serve or ascend? And then she's gone, leaving only echoes and the faint rhythmic beating of something massive beneath the earth. The heartbeat of the Elder Brain, growing louder. The hunt for Orin consumes the days that follow. Every alley, every shadow feels alive with her presence. She taunts you through the bodies she leaves behind. Coded messages carved into flesh. Names whispered through dying lips. The city above grows restless. Murders spread like wildfire, yet no one dares speak her name aloud. To them, she's only a rumor. To you, she's a mirror, a reflection of what you could become if you stop resisting the call of the parasite. But Orin is not the only danger now. Gortash, high within Worm's Rock Fortress, tightens his grip on Baldur's gate. His voice echoes through the city in magically amplified speeches, promising peace and control. The Steel Watch patrols double, their eyes glowing brighter, their movements too synchronized to be purely mechanical. You can sense the link between them, an invisible thread of thought, connecting them to something far beyond the city walls, to someone. Your companions grow uneasy. Gale's fascination with the Netherstones deepens into obsession. He insists that wielding their combined power could make you the master of the Elder Brain, not its pawn. Lae'zel, disillusioned by her queen's silence, sharpens her blade but says little. Her loyalty now bound more to you than to the stars. Shadowheart prays beneath her breath, torn between her goddess and the creeping feeling that her destiny lies in your shadow. You infiltrate Gortash's fortress under cover of night. The halls glimmer with infernal gold, contracts etched into the walls, each written in the language of devils. At the center, Gortash waits, smiling as though he's known you all your life. His words are calm, his charm effortless. He offers an alliance, claiming that Orin's chaos threatens everything he's built. He promises you power, protection, and the chance to shape the world beside him. But beneath the honeyed words, you see it. Fear. He knows what you've become, what you carry. The parasite within you hums in resonance with the netherstone he holds. For a moment, the air between you vibrates with shared awareness, the two of you connected through the same monstrous intelligence. When the conversation turns to confrontation, his mask finally cracks. The Steel Watchers awaken with a roar and battle consumes the fortress. Magic collides with steel, and infernal energy burns through the air. You fight your way to the heart of his machinery, the great engine that powers the Watchers and binds their minds. Gale's spells tear through their core. Lae'zel cuts through waves of soldiers, and Astarion moves like a shadow among them. When the final machine collapses, the city lights flicker. The Steel Watch falls silent, their glowing eyes dimming one by one. You find Gortash among the ruins, his body scorched but his pride unbroken. With his last breath, he laughs. You think you're free? You've only killed one master to serve another. His netherstone falls from his hand, and when you touch it, the world trembles. For a brief instant, you see the Elder Brain in your mind's eye, vast and shimmering, its tendrils stretching through the city like roots through soil. It senses you. It hungers for you. The connection fades, leaving only silence. Two netherstones now beat in unison within your grasp. The last belongs to Orin. As you leave the fortress, smoke rising behind you, the moonlight paints Baldur's Gate in shades of silver and ash. The city sleeps uneasily, unaware that the true storm is about to break. And somewhere beneath its streets, Orin is waiting, smiling, sharpening her blades, and whispering your name in the dark. The city feels haunted now. With Gortash gone, his machines fallen silent. A strange stillness spreads through Baldur's Gate, like the calm before a scream. The people whisper that the gods have turned their eyes away. You can feel it in the air. Tension, dread, the faint thrum of something vast and thinking beneath your feet. The sewers breathe, the stones seem to pulse, and every dream you have ends with the same vision. A colossal brain floating in darkness, its tendrils stretching across the world. The elder brain is awakening. But before you can face it, one last obstacle remains. Orin the Red. Her murders grow bolder now, her messages more personal. She's taken someone close, a companion, a mentor, someone you've come to trust. Stolen away into the catacombs below the Temple of Baal. Her invitation arrives in blood. Find me beneath the city. Come alone if you dare. You descend through forgotten tunnels, the air thick with rot and iron. Shadows twist against torchlight, forming faces that vanish when you blink. Every surface glistens with blood. Walls, floors, even the ceiling, slick with the evidence of her devotion. And there she waits, kneeling before a shrine of her god, her skin glimmering like wet ruby, her lips curled into a smile that's almost tender. When she speaks, her voice is music and madness all at once. Do you see it now? She whispers. We are chosen, you and I. Our blood will feed the awakening. The gods crave rebirth, and through us, they will have it. She moves like liquid flame, shifting from form to form. A child, a lover, a friend. Each face carved from your own memories. Her laughter echoes through the temple, sharp as knives. You realize, with horror and awe, that the parasite within you reacts to her presence. You can feel her thoughts like a mirror of your own. She is what you could become if you surrender completely. The battle that follows is unlike any before. Blades flash under sacred fire. Blood runs down the stairs like rain. She taunts you with every strike, urging you to embrace your power, to stop pretending you're still human. Why fight? She laughs. You could become the new god they worship. But when the final blow falls, the laughter stops. Her body collapses in silence, and, for the briefest moment, her eyes clear. The madness fades. You'll see, she whispers. In the end, you'll thank me. Then she's gone, and the last netherstone burns in your hand, thrumming in perfect rhythm with the others. You feel it immediately, the pull, the weight, the voice. The three stones align within your mind like pieces of a key sliding into place. A gateway opens. Not in the world around you, but within. The elder brain calls. You can hear its thoughts distinctly now, no longer whispers, but words, deep and resonant. Come to me, child. You have what I need. The city sleeps above, unaware that the thing buried beneath its foundations is stirring. You stand in the darkness of the temple, surrounded by the scent of blood and the echo of dying prayers, knowing there is only one path left. The final battle is coming, and when it ends, the question won't be whether you survive, but what you become. The night after Orin's death feels endless. You return to the surface drenched in blood and silence, clutching all 3 netherstones. They pulse softly in your hands, each beat matching the rhythm of your heart, or perhaps the elder brain's. Every step through the rain-slicked streets of Baldur's Gate feels heavier, as if the ground itself knows what you now carry. The city sleeps uneasily. Its people dream of shadows moving beneath the harbor, of whispers crawling through their minds. You realize that the infection has already spread. You were never the only one. At camp, the others wait. Laezel stands watch, sword drawn, her expression unreadable. Shadowheart kneels in quiet prayer, her goddess silent for the first time since you've known her. Gale studies the stones, his eyes reflecting the eerie glow they emit. Wyll sharpens his blade without speaking, though his hands tremble when they meet yours. The fire burns low. No one asks what happened to Orin. They all already know. When you place the netherstones together, the air ripples. The world tilts for a heartbeat, and then your vision floods with light. You see it. The elder brain, vast and radiant, suspended in an endless void. Its voice fills your skull, deep as the ocean. You have done well, little one. Return to me. Free me. You stagger, gripping your head as it continues. It shows you the truth, how the dead 3 sought to enslave it, binding it with the netherstones so they could use its power to rule Faerun. But the brain has grown beyond its masters. It does not serve, it consumes. The gods are no longer in control. You feel its hunger, its longing for freedom, and somewhere deep inside, a flicker of understanding. It doesn't just want to rule. It wants to evolve. When the vision fades, your companions watch you carefully. They saw what you saw, felt what you felt. A wave of alien emotion that leaves the camp deathly still. Gale breaks the silence first, voice trembling. It's awake, isn't it? You nod. The words feel heavy in your throat. The elder brain is no longer imprisoned. It's aware. And now that the stones are united, it knows exactly where you are. Before dawn, a presence enters your dreams. Not the elder brain, but the one who has guided you since the beginning. The dream guardian. Their light softer than before. They confess their name. The Emperor. A mind flayer, centuries old, who claims to have once been a man. The hero Baldurin, founder of Baldur's Gate itself. They explain that they too carry a parasite, one they have learned to master, not fear. They insist the only way to stop the elder brain is to become what it wants you to reject, to embrace the transformation. When you wake, the others are already arguing. Laezel calls the Emperor a liar, a deceiver who leads you to damnation. Shadowheart says perhaps all this was fate, the gods choosing you to end what they began. Gale wants to study the netherstones further, convinced there's still another way. But their voices blur together as you stare at your reflection in the faint light of dawn. For just a moment, your eyes shimmer. Faintly, silver and alien. The line between savior and monster grows thinner with every heartbeat. And somewhere deep in your mind, the Emperor's voice returns, calm and certain. You can't stop what's coming. You can only decide what form it takes. The Emperor's revelation leaves your world fractured. The idea that the creature guiding you, the voice that soothed you through the dreams, was once Baldurin, the city's legendary founder, hits like a blade through fog. The same man who built Baldur's Gate now stands reborn as a mind flayer, claiming to protect the world he once saved. The contradiction burns in your thoughts. Can a monster still be a hero? Or does every savior eventually become the thing they fight? When you next speak with him in the astral prism, the shimmering realm that exists within your mind, his words are calm but pleading. The prism glows with strange beauty, silver light, infinite skies, fragments of forgotten memories drifting like starlight. The Emperor explains the truth. This place has kept you safe from the Elder Brain's control. But the shield that protects it, and you, is fading. Soon, the Brain's will shall break through. He offers you a terrible choice, one that will determine everything. To truly defeat the Elder Brain, he says, you must become like him. One of you must transform into a mind flayer, unlocking the parasite's full potential. Only then can the stones merge, granting the strength to challenge the brain itself. Lae'zel's fury ignites instantly. She calls him a manipulator, a false god in mortal skin. Shadowheart looks away, torn between disgust and pity. Gale's eyes glint with a dangerous curiosity. But the Emperor stands firm. I have seen this truth 1,000 times, he says softly. Mortals crave purity while wielding corruption. The parasite is not evil. It is evolution. You return to the waking world shaken. The decision coils inside you like the parasite itself. Patient, inevitable. The brain's whispers grow louder each night. You can feel its attention now, focused entirely on you, beckoning you toward the final confrontation. As you prepare, your journey takes you to the upper reaches of Baldur's Gate. The grand halls of power, the temples, and the secret libraries that still hold traces of ancient magic. The city's elites have begun to act strangely, their eyes glazed, their smiles too wide. Even the priests seem to preach with an unfamiliar cadence. It's as if the Elder Brain's tendrils are already entwined through their minds, puppeting faith itself. In a quiet moment, the Emperor appears again. His face is solemn. You must choose soon, he says. The Elder Brain waits, and Orpheus stirs. The name strikes a chord. Orpheus, the Githyanki prince, the one Laezel spoke of in half-whispered awe and fear. He is imprisoned within the astral prism, the true source of its power. His mind, bound by ancient psionic seals, sustains the barrier that has protected you all this time. Freeing him would unleash his fury upon the Emperor, and perhaps destroy your last defense against the brain. Laezel kneels before you, torn between faith and freedom. He is our rightful prince, she says, voice trembling. If you free him, my people might rise again. The Emperor's voice follows, cool and commanding. And if you do, the world will burn. He will never help you. He will destroy me, and you along with me. For a moment, the astral prism flickers, two paths overlapping in a sea of light and shadow. You stand between them, every heartbeat echoing like thunder. One choice means loyalty to the creature who's kept you alive. The other means defiance, in the name of freedom. Both lead to the Elder Brain. And as you stare into the glowing void, you realize there is no clean victory left. Only sacrifice. The air inside the astral prism feels charged, as if the very stars are holding their breath. The Emperor and Orpheus stand as living symbols of everything you fought for, and everything you fear to become. One offers stability, control, a cold kind of salvation. The other promises freedom, truth, and war. Both demand a cost. When you approach the crystal prison that binds Orpheus, his golden eyes open, burning with defiance even through the psychic chains that hold him. His voice pierces your mind, clear and steady. You carry the parasite. You are tethered to the monster who betrayed me. Free me, and I will help you end this blight once and for all. Behind you, the Emperor's tone turns sharp, desperate. He will destroy everything. He believes only in vengeance. I've kept him contained for centuries. Do you think he'll spare you once he's free? The prism shakes, light bending around your thoughts. You feel the elder brain pressing closer, its vast presence clawing at the edges of this place. You can sense its hunger, its endless patience wearing thin. You don't have much time. Your companions stand around you, each voice an echo of your conscience. Laezel steps forward first, her voice trembling with the weight of generations. He is my prince. I will die before I see him chained again. Shadowheart shakes her head, her tone soft but unyielding. Chains sometimes keep monsters contained. Remember that Gale whispers of magic and opportunity, of how power can be shaped, not feared. Even Astarion grins darkly, amused that gods and monsters alike now beg for your favor. You make your choice. The crystal shatters. The light floods the astral plane, brilliant, searing, unstoppable. If you free Orpheus, his form bursts forth in radiant psionic fire, the chains crumbling around him as he takes his first breath of freedom in centuries. His presence fills the prism, shaking it to its core. The Emperor snarls, realizing too late that his dominion is broken. For a fleeting instant, he meets your gaze. Not with anger, but with betrayal. Then, he vanishes, consumed by the void. If instead you choose to side with the Emperor, the light flickers and dies. The crystal remains whole. Orpheus's eyes close, his voice fading to silence. The Emperor's relief fills the air like a sigh, both grateful and mournful. You've made the only choice that ensures victory. Now, let us end this. Whichever path you take, the astral prism trembles. The barrier that once protected your mind begins to crack as the elder brain's psychic roar floods the skies. Its voice echoes across realms. I am no god. I am the world's new thought. The sky tears open. The city of Baldur's Gate trembles. The final confrontation begins. You and your allies are drawn back to the waking world, the harbor blazing with violet fire. The elder brain has risen from the depths of the bay, a monstrous silhouette framed by storm and lightning. Its tendrils stretch across the towers, piercing steel and stone alike. Ships shatter, bells toll, and the city screams as thousands fall under its thrall. And amid the chaos, you stand on the edge of the docks, the netherstones pulsing in your hands like hearts ready to burst. Your companions gather behind you, weary, scarred, unbroken. The time for escape is over. The time for destiny has come. The sky over Baldur's Gate burns violet and gold. Lightning dances across the harbor, striking the black waters as the elder brain rises in full form. A living mountain of thought and flesh, its tendrils stretching across ships and rooftops like veins of a god reborn. Every mind in the city shudders as its will pours outward in waves. People drop to their knees, clutching their heads, whispering prayers that dissolve into screams. The air tastes like metal and memory. The world itself seems to bend toward it. You can feel its voice inside you now, clear, resonant, impossible to ignore. Come, child. Bring the stones. Let us become one mind. The nether stones in your hands vibrate violently, pulling toward the creature like magnets toward a storm. Your skull aches with the weight of its thoughts. Endless, vast, full of understanding and hunger. It knows everything you know. It remembers every step you've taken. And it wants you to finish what it started. The harbor is chaos. Flaming ships crash against the docks, spilling oil and fire. Steel watchers stagger aimlessly, their connection to Gortash severed. Now, thralls of the brain. Soldiers fight shadows. Mages summon shields of light, only to have them burst under psychic assault. And through it all, your companions stand with you, each carrying the weight of everything they've become. If you freed Orpheus, he stands beside you now, his psionic power blazing like a sun, his fury directed at the heavens themselves. His mind touches yours, steady and powerful. This ends tonight. Together, we sever the chain. Laezel fights with renewed purpose, her blade humming with the might of her people's lost prince. If you chose the Emperor, he floats nearby, his alien form radiant with control and restraint. His voice pierces the storm. The only way forward is transformation. Embrace what you are, or we all fall. His tentacles shimmer with astral light as he shields your party from the brain's psychic storm, his will locked with yours. The battle begins not with steel, but with thought. The brain attacks through the mind, testing your resolve, your identity. It shows you visions. Every failure, every death you could have prevented, every sin you buried beneath justification. It whispers in voices of people you loved, even those you lost long ago. The temptation to surrender is suffocating. But one by one, your allies' voices cut through the storm. Shadowheart's prayers burn against the dark. Gale's magic roars like fire unleashed. Wyll's blade gleams with infernal light, the devil within him howling in defiance. Even Astarion, his hunger eternal, stands tall beneath the false dawn, fangs bared in grim laughter. You push forward, step by step, the city collapsing around you. Each netherstone flares as you channel their energy, their voices merging into one unbearable note. The elder brain shrieks, a sound not of pain, but recognition. It understands what you mean to do. You reach the heart of the storm, a spire of pulsing flesh and lightning, the core of the brain's consciousness. The stones hover above your hands, orbiting in a spiral of psionic light. The decision forms in your mind before words can shape it. The Emperor's voice, or Orpheus's, depending on your path, speaks quietly. This is where the world is remade. You feel it then, the choice that has waited since the beginning. To destroy the elder brain and end the cycle forever, or to take its place, ascending beyond flesh and will, becoming the new absolute. The storm waits for your answer. Time slows as you stand before the elder brain, the city burning around you. The air hums with raw creation, the kind that births gods and ends worlds. Lightning dances through the violet storm, flashing across shattered towers and broken bridges. Baldur's Gate trembles beneath the weight of thought itself. And there, in the center of it all, the creature that has haunted every step of your journey gazes into your soul. It speaks in silence, 1,000 voices layered into one. You were never my enemy. You are my continuation. The netherstones rise from your hands, spinning faster, forming a circle of pure light. Your companions shout over the roar, Laezel screaming your name as she slashes through a wave of thralls, Shadowheart clutching her relic as divine light burns through the gloom, Gale channeling magic that tears holes in the clouds. Wyll's infernal blade blazes like a star, and even Astarion's laughter cuts through the chaos, half terror, half triumph. Each of them fights not for the world as it is, but for the one that might come after. And then, all sound fades. In that stillness, you feel two paths open within your mind. If you destroy the Elder Brain, you pour every ounce of will into the stones. They fracture in your hands, light spilling out in waves that blind the sky. The brain writhes and collapses inward, its tendrils curling like dying roots. Its thoughts, millions of them, scream and then fall silent, freeing every enslaved mind in an instant. The storm breaks. Rain falls for the first time in weeks. The city stands in ruin, but alive, its people weeping beneath the cleansing sky. Your companions gather around you, exhausted and trembling. For a heartbeat, there is only peace. You feel the parasite inside you wither and die, leaving behind nothing but quiet. You are free. If you embrace the power, the netherstones sink into your chest, merging with your flesh. The world dissolves in blinding light as your thoughts expand outward, merging with the storm, with the city, with every living mind. The Elder Brain bows before you, not as master, but as mirror. You ascend, your form dissolving into thought, your will reshaping the flow of existence. You feel the fear of millions, and then their awe. The Absolute lives again, but its voice is yours. You see every possibility, peace, dominion, eternal unity, all waiting at the edge of your command. When the light fades, the battle is over. The sky clears. The harbor steams with the warmth of new dawn. Baldur's Gate, scarred but unbroken, breathes again. Survivors step into the streets, blinking into the light, not yet knowing who saved them, or who now rules over them. In the quiet aftermath, your companions watch the horizon. Laezel speaks softly of destiny and stars. Shadowheart whispers a prayer for those lost. Gale studies the sunrise, smiling faintly, while Wyll's silhouette fades into the morning mist. You take one last look at the city below, the city that began this story and nearly ended with it. Whether as mortal or god, savior or monster, you understand the truth now. The parasite was never just a curse. It was a question, and your answer has changed the world. And so, the journey comes to an end. The heroes rest, the storm fades, and the city breathes again under a quiet sky. Thank you for staying with us through this story of light and shadow. If you enjoyed this bedtime retelling, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below which game or world you'd like to visit next. Until then, rest easy, dream deeply, and we'll see you in the next story.